All right, my friends, welcome to the third of three videos on the muscles. This section of our presentation is not really going to talk much about the muscle anatomy or physiology, but rather why it's important to keep your muscles in shape. Okay, this slide obviously lists a number of um, advantages or benefits to exercising. All right, obviously you increase your muscle strength, your endurance, your flexibility. It increases your cardiorespiratory endurance. In other words, your heart and your lungs are working better, and this is important all through your life, not just at a young age, but it is especially important at an older age. If you think about what's going on in society today with the coronavirus pandemic and all that kind of stuff, people who are relatively healthy are doing much better than people who have underlying respiratory or cardiovascular issues. So it's important to keep up your muscle strength. It's important to work those muscles all through your life. It can also increase your high density lipids, your HDLs that you see here. This is what's known as the good cholesterol, and this improves your heart health. It increases your ratio of protein to fat. In other words, muscle over fat in terms of your body. And this, of course, it's better to have more muscle and less fat. Interestingly enough, benefit exercise has been shown to have a link to preventing some cancers. And if you look at it, we got colon, breast cancer, cervical cancer, uterine cancer, and ovarian cancer. Ladies, I don't want to worry you or anything else, but if you look at this list, colon cancer, of course, can affect. Whoops. Colon cancer. I don't know why my mouse is doing this. I apologize. Colon cancer can affect men and women, but the others on this list are all strictly female diseases. Well, that's not really true. Breast cancer can affect men as well. But the moral of the story is that exercise is important for everyone. It can improve the density of your bones, preventing osteoporosis. The more the muscles are moving those bones on a regular basis, the more calcium is deposited into the bones. And exercise has definitely been shown to increase your mood, in a positive way, and relieve depression. Now, why and when and how much should we exercise? Well, kids from the ages of 7 to 12 should have 1 to 2 hours of vigorous exercise daily, right? When you were in elementary school, think about this. You had gym every day, all right? Or you should have, but you definitely had recess every day, all right? And they threw you outside and made you play on the swing sets and kick a soccer ball around or, whatever you were doing. You're building motor skills, and strength. Teenagers from the ages of 13 to 18, this is middle school to high school, should be engaged in vigorous activity for at least 1 hour, 3 to 5 days a week, or half an hour of daily moderate activity. This helps to build muscles with calisthenics or that sort of thing. Lots of kids participate in team sports as well as gym class at that age level. And so those kinds of things are important. And then finally, the age group that we are all in, 19 to 55 adults, vigorous activity, 1 hour for at least 3 days a week or a half an hour every day. This can help to prevent lower back pain. You can do aerobics, yoga, stretching. You can do aerobic exercise like running, that sort of thing. The big thing nowadays is the Peloton. Aerobic exercise helps to burn fat and so on. Okay, so it's important. Anabolic steroids, they haven't really been in the news recently, but when I first started teaching this course, we were going through the steroid era in baseball and a variety of other things. And steroids can still be a problem in certain sports and that sort of thing. But what an anabolic steroid is it's a hormone essentially that increases the rate of protein production, and so therefore it can build muscle. And so professional athletes and even some amateur athletes used anabolic steroids in order to increase their muscle mass. However, there are some very dangerous side effects that are listed here, such as high blood pressure, jaundice, acne, and a greater risk of certain forms of cancer. For men, especially, abuse of anabolic steroids can cause impotence and shrinking of the testicles. Um, they may also lead to increased aggressiveness, right? Roid rage. You've heard that term, I'm sure. Um, so increased aggressiveness, violent mood swings, and that sort of thing. So just something to think about, especially those of you who are, playing on sports teams, whether it's at Siena or somewhere else. Common muscle disorders. A spasm is a sudden involuntary contraction, usually is painful. You've all had some muscle spasm, um, at some point or another. Your muscles kind of just involuntarily contract, and it just hurts. Um, if you have multiple spasms of most or all of your skeletal muscles at the same time, that can be called a seizure. And there are certain disorders that are associated with seizures, like, for example, epilepsy. Cramps are very strong spasms, usually in humans in the leg or the foot, um, and they're very, very painful. Strains, this is actually kind of interesting. The difference between a strain and a sprain. You hear sports announcers talking about, oh, yeah, this guy's got a strain this or a sprain that. The difference between a strain and a sprain is that a strain is a stretching or tearing of a muscle, whereas a sprain is an injury to a joint. Okay, and that can involve muscles or ligaments, tendons, and the whole nine yards. All right, so strains are strictly for the muscles or involving the muscles. Sprains are typically joints. Tendonitis is an inflammation of a tendon, typically due to overuse. Oftentimes, people who use the same muscles over and over again will get tendonitis. Tennis players, um, pitchers in baseball using the same arm to hurl a fastball over and over and over again will often succumb to tendonitis. And last but not least on this list is bursitis, which is the inflammation of a small fluid-filled sac called a bursa, typically found near the joint, where two muscles are moving, a muscle is moving two different bones. And that bursa becomes inflamed, and again, because of repetitive use. Diseases of the musculature. Fibromyalgia. This is chronic achy muscles, but the disease itself is not really well understood. It is often associated with depression, and there are some clinicians who are not sure if the fibromyalgia leads to depression or if the depression leads to fibromyalgia. Because depressed people tend to be less active than others, and so you just kind of feel tired and achy all the time. Muscular dystrophy is a several genetic disorders in which the muscles get weaker and weaker as the person ages. Myasthenia gravis is an autoimmune disorder, meaning that your immune system is actually attacking your own cells, specifically the acetylcholine receptors in muscles. And for some reason, it tends to concentrate on your arms and legs and your face. And then finally, ALS, or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. This is also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. And in this case, the motor neurons, so part of the nervous system that tells the muscles to contract, those neurons degenerate. So it's not a degeneration of the muscles per se, but a degeneration of the nerves. And because the nerves don't tell the muscles to move, the muscles become weak from disuse. And so this is unfortunately a fatal disorder, and so folks die because their muscles become weaker and weaker and weaker. Okay. So how does the skeletal and muscular system together help to maintain homeostasis? Well, both of these systems are involved with movement that allows us to respond to stimuli. It helps us to digest food, helps us to return blood to the heart, moves air in and out of the lungs, right? The diaphragm muscle in your between your thoracic and abdominal cavities contracts and expands. Both systems protect body parts. Your bones store and release calcium. All right. And so here is a huge homeostasis deal. And because homeostasis is needed for muscle contraction. And so the bones and the muscles are working together there to maintain that blood calcium level so that you always have enough calcium in your system so that your muscles will contract and your nerves will send the messages that they have to send. Obviously, blood cells are produced in the bone. That helps to maintain homeostasis. And your muscles, when you shiver, help to bring your body temperature back up to a normal level. All right. Finally, we've got this slide, which ends every chapter. The muscular and skeletal systems work together to maintain homeostasis. The systems listed here and all of these things also work with these two systems. But the muscular and skeletal systems allow the body to move. They provide support and protection for internal organs. Muscle contraction provides heat to warm the body, especially in very cold scenarios. The bones play a role in blood calcium balance, and that's about it. So that, my friends, brings us to the end of our discussion of both the skeletal and muscular systems. Please make sure that you read the chapters that are associated with this and that you're ready for the quiz on Monday on each of these chapters. All right. Have a great day. I will talk to you hopefully soon.